One of those lawmakers boycotting is Congressman Mark DeSaulnier, a Democrat of the fine state of California. Congressman, thanks for coming. Why aren't you going?
Mostly just because it's a personal thing. It's not coordinated with other members. It's just a personal decision that I think that the way the president-elect has handled himself since the election, I was hoping he would change and try to unify America. But it's the way he deals with what I would commonly say decency. It has nothing to do with Republican or Democrat, conservative or liberal. I think there should be more decency.
Did you have this view, sir, prior to John Lewis and his remarks, or you weren't going even before he spoke?
No, I decided after the press conference on Wednesday. I waited. I obviously didn't support the president-elect. I have some serious questions about him, but I thought you should give him some time after the press conference, just because of the way he's handled himself, how divisive he's been, and also the fact that I think he's heading us into a constitutional crisis.
All right, so that was pre the John Lewis announcement that he's not legitimate. Do you think Donald Trump, whatever your opinions of not going to the inauguration, is not legitimate, that he is not a legitimate president?
I think he won the Electoral College. Everything I've read has not doubted that he won the election, the Electoral College vote. So I think time will tell about the legitimacy. I've read the classified material, which I, of course, can't talk about, but I think time will tell about how much influence Russians had on our election. All
right. Now, it's clear that from intelligence agencies that the Russians had a prominent role in this. Do you think they tipped the outcome of the election? Because even intelligence, at least that I've been privy to, sir, and you're privy to more than I am, have not gone that far that it tipped the outcome of the election. Do you think otherwise?
I think it's too soon to tell, at least for myself, having read it and reread it. It's certainly alarming. Just the things that are not classified are alarming. But I don't know anyone who can actually measure pretty objectively whether that actually tipped the outcome, although I know a lot of my colleagues feel that it did.
Do you worry, though, about the signal it sends, though, Congressman, that whatever your heartfelt beliefs, and I believe they're heartfelt, as I do in the case of Mr. Lewis, but that in his case, of course, he felt much the same about George Bush in 2000. Many Democrats did. He was comparing John McCain to George Wallace back in 2008, that he does have a history of having a sort of a volcanic reaction to Republicans seeking the presidency, at least in recent history.
Well, I'm not going to criticize John Lewis. I'm a great admirer of his. I think he's the most respected member of Congress. I think Republicans would say that as well.
But I'm not asking about his civil rights background, in which you're absolutely right. He's a civil rights icon and has the scars to prove it. But this is very different, right? I mean, if you fought hard for that and you're claiming that someone about to be inaugurated as the 45th president isn't legitimate, and you have a lot of people who follow you, praise you, worship you, particularly on this day, MLK Day, do you think that's a responsible thing to say?
I wouldn't question Neil. I wouldn't question John, Neil. He has his perspective. It's hard-earned, so I respect him for that. For myself, I would not say that. I would have gone to George W. Bush's inaugural, as did John Lewis, if I had been a member of Congress at that time.
But you have your own followers, and you were very popular in your district as well, sir. So I'm just wondering, for the young in your district, if they hear, hey, wait a minute, our guy isn't going, he's among these 27, 28 Democrats not going, a record number, I might point out. Don't you think that sends a worrisome signal to them that if you don't like the results of an election, you can just skip out?
No, I don't. I think that's hyperbole on your part, with all due respect.
Well, it's not hyperbole when 27 are not going, right? I mean, 27 aren't going.
Is it okay if I finish the question?
Sure.
Okay. So I personally think it was a decision I made. John made his decision. The other 27 haven't. I respect my colleagues who are going. There's a good argument to go. I made a different decision. On Monday, after the election, I will be at work, and I will be willing to work with the president. We're grown-ups in politics. We can accept a little differences of opinion and get to work the next day with our colleagues who we differ.
Can you really? Because what would your reaction have been 8 years ago, even 4 years ago, if any Republican congressman boycotted Barack Obama's inauguration, the first one or the second?
I'd go to work with them the next day. I would respect them for their decision and go to work with them the next day.
You wouldn't judge it any other way?
No, I haven't been in Congress long, but I've been in politics 26 years. You get up the next day and you work with the people who have been elected, duly elected. That's part of your job, and that's what I intend to do. But I'm not going to go to the inaugural.
But how is that different than honoring the inauguration that allows you to work with the president you just said you'd work with next Monday?
That's right.
I'm sorry, I don't understand. If you're willing to work with President Trump once he's president next Monday, but you don't want to be there for when he is officially named president.
I think we just have a difference of opinion. I don't think it's mutually exclusive. I think this is a very unique situation, very unique, as I think you would admit. Candidate, very unique, will be a very unique president.
But he won, right? He won the electoral vote. He won the contest, right?
Vulgar. Pardon?
You might not like the guy, but he did win, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, and I'll work with him. And if he doesn't like me, that's fine. I'll work with him.
Okay. Sir, thank you very, very much. We'll see what happens.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Neil.
All right. Meanwhile,